Snendadla, good evening. Thank you for being with us. First things first, how are you going to convince the court that cigarettes are an essential item, because that is what seems to be governing, or not seems even, that's what's governing what is sold at stores at the moment?
Indeed. Thank you for having me on your show, Tembegile. That is something that we're in discussion with our legal team on. We believe that we have a solid case. At this stage, it's a bit too early to divulge the details of what exactly our strategy is going to be when we bring forward our case and present it before a court of law. All we wish to state at this point is that we do believe that we have a solid case. We have attempted at length to engage government on these issues, but to date we've received no luck, and our attempts have been to no avail.
So when was the last time you, as Fita, were able to speak to government about this ban on cigarette sales, and what was the line of conversation then? What was said?
Look, our last letter was addressed to the presidency on the 14th of April. We also copied in the other departments that are tasked with regulating the regulations in relation to the lockdown period. So we copied in the Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Health, the Department of Police, Treasury, and so forth. All we received was a mere acknowledgement with no clear sort of detail as to what government intended doing in as far as our submissions are concerned. This is in line with what the level of feedback we've been receiving from government for the last 3 weeks. And we felt that, we had exhausted all sorts of avenues we could have explored in our attempts to engage government in this particular issue. We were hoping, as the story your channel ran earlier on, that government, and in particular the National Command Council, which was due to meet yesterday at 2 o'clock, would have made some sort of positive pronouncement in as far as this issue and other issues relating to the sale of other essential goods, which was which we have been advised was on the table for discussion by government. The announcement that was made this afternoon obviously then made it clear that government had no intention of lifting the ban on a number of essential or non-essential goods which have been prohibited. Well, the sale thereof has been prohibited during this lockdown period.
And Snendadla, you are arguing, I've gone through your statement, that should this ban on cigarette sales continue, people in the value chain will be affected, from farmers to everyone else who depends on the industry for an income. But health experts who are in favor of a ban on cigarette sales are saying that should one catch COVID-19, you need your lungs to be as strong as possible because it is a respiratory illness. How do you respond to those who say banning cigarettes is in fact in the best interest of the health of smokers?
Look, we don't dispute the health implications that come with smoking cigarettes. What we're saying is, in essence, that government firstly did not engage us whatsoever in as far as their reasons or their rationale for banning the sale of cigarettes during the lockdown period. We further then go to say that there are many other goods which are listed on the so-called essential goods that also pose some sort of health risk, but yet they have been allowed or been permitted to be sold during this period. So what we're saying is that the arbitrary nature with which government has dealt with this obviously is cause for concern, and we feel that, look, we have tried to engage government on this issue and put forward our submissions, and that now we feel that perhaps it is best for a court of law to make a ruling on this issue and once and for all make a declarator on whether or not cigarettes and other goods that have been classified as non-essential goods should also then be sold during the lockdown period.
You also speak then... Sorry, finish your point.
I was just going to add that I know that a political party, other organizations and researchers and academics have made the very same points that we have made and advanced. And unfortunately, there seems to have been no feedback whatsoever to any of these parties from government on this particular issue.
I want to speak to another point that you make in your statement, and that's about how you cite cases where in the Western Cape, unfortunately, we've seen a shopkeeper apparently or allegedly killed because of cigarettes. You are talking about how it's led to a rise in income for the illicit trade in cigarettes. And others would say perhaps that's not even about the ban itself, but about a policing issue, and that is what needs to be beefed up, instead of saying go and buy cigarettes then from the petrol station down the road, for instance.
I hear you. Look, the illicit trade is only but one of the arguments that we have raised in relation to this ban. We do agree that it is a policing issue. This was an issue that was documented well before the lockdown period. I mean, the Nugent Commission, for instance, raised this particular issue. Many tobacco industry bodies have previously and gone to great lengths to highlight the extent of this particular issue, which is robbing the fiscus, but also leading to the demise of the legitimate tobacco industry. This obviously would then affect, as you alluded to earlier on, farm workers, informal traders, and many other people who rely on this industry for a living. There are many other reasons which I can advance to you in relation to why we feel that the ban on the sale of cigarettes at this point is an irrational sort of decision by government, and we feel that more thorough consideration should have been given to the submissions of industry and other academics prior to government at least making this decision. If there was a consultative process of some sort, it would have made more sense, and perhaps we would have accepted the decision. But at this point, there's been no form of engagement whatsoever.
As brief as possible, when should we expect you to make your court papers?
I see my part of my legal team was trying to contact me as we were speaking, so we'll be working through the weekend on this issue. We're hoping that by Sunday latest we've filed some sort of legal document to obviously take this matter further.
Sinenhlanhla Mnguni with the tobacco industry, thank you so much for speaking to us tonight.